Good morning, boys and girls. I'll be reading chapter 2 of The Water Horse to you today. Before we get started, let's review a little bit about what we read yesterday. So yesterday we found a little girl named Kirsty, an 8-year-old girl living in Scotland with her brother. Her brother's name is Angus, and they live with their mother and their very grumpy grandpa, Grumble. So it was a very appropriate name for him. Their father is a sea merchant, so he's out trading, and he's in a calm seas down in tropical waters, and he's not part of the storm that just came upon their community. And Kirsty and her brother go out scavenging after storms, and they found something really cool. I'll show you the illustration from yesterday. They found a mermaid's purse, which is in the middle of that picture. It's in that little wash away area. And it is an egg sack, and they brought it home, and they didn't tell anybody. Their mother doesn't know that they brought it home, and they decided to put it in the bathtub. And in the middle of the night, Kirsty checked on it, and there wasn't anything there. And then in the morning, something happened. So that's where we're going to pick up on our story, chapter 2. It's called, It's a Monster. One look into the bathtub was enough to send her hurrying to get Angus. As usual, he awoke from the deepest of sleeps with his mind instantly turned to his chief pleasure in life. "I'm hungry," said Angus. "Is breakfast ready?" "Shh," said Kirsty. "Don't talk so loud. We mustn't wake up Mother or Grumble." "Why not?" said Angus. "Because it's hatched. The thing in the bathtub." "Blow me down," said Angus. Oh, Angus enjoyed using what he thought to be terrible swear words, and his father, on his last shore leave, had taught him a careful selection of sailors' oaths. They crept into the bathroom and stood side by side, gazing into the water. "Look," said Kirsty. "Shiver my timbers," said Angus. The giant mermaid's purse lay on the bottom at the plug hole end, like a sunken wreck. Wrecked it was, too, with a gaping hole on one side, where something had emerged from the mermaid's purse. At the other end of the bathtub swam that something. When Kirsty was a grown woman with a family of her own, her children would ask her time and again to describe what it was she saw in the bathtub that early morning, when she was 8 years old. It was a little animal, she told them, such as neither you nor I, your Uncle Angus, had ever seen before. Such as no one in the world had ever seen before. In fact, in size, it was only about as big as a newborn kitten, but quite a different shape. The first thing you noticed about it was its head, which was sticking up out of the water on the end of quite a long neck. More than anything, it looked like a horse's head, with wide nostrils like a horse, and even a suggestion of pricked ears. But its body was more like a turtle's. I don't mean that it had a shell, it had a kind of warty skin like a toad's. Greeny, grayish in color. And 4 flippers, like a turtle has. But it had a tail like a crocodile's, just like you usually look at people's faces before you notice anything else about a body. So when you look at its head, we didn't think about a crocodile or a toad or a turtle. We thought it looked like a little horse. So now, as Kirsty and Angus watched, the creature, which had been eyeing them in silence, dived with a plop, swam underwater with very strong strokes of its little flippers, and surfaced again right in front of them. And it looked up at them and chirruped. Chirrup is like a little, almost like a bird sound. "What does it want?" Kirsty said. The answer to this question was very obvious to someone like Angus. What do you think it wants? If you said food, you're right. Food, of course. It's hungry, like me, said Angus. "What shall we give it? What do you suppose it will eat?" What do you suppose it is anyway, said Kirsty. "We don't even know what sort of animal this is." "It's a monster," said Angus confidently. He had a number of picture books about monsters, and obviously to him, this was one of them. "But monsters are big," said Kirsty. Angus sighed. "Ugh! Sis, this isn't a monster. This is a baby monster." "A baby sea monster?" said Kirsty. "Well, then it would eat fish, wouldn't it? We'll have to catch some fish for it." A happy smile lit up Angus's round face. "We don't need to. There's plenty of sardines in the pantry." I like sardines. So boys and girls, maybe you have sardines in your pantry, but maybe you don't. So today I'm going to show you what a sardine looks like. This is how they usually come in a little tin, and they're very small fish. Some people put them on pizza. Would you ever try a sardine? Angus likes them. I couldn't find any in my pantry though. Opening the sardine can was difficult, but Kirsty managed to turn the key far enough to winkle one out. And they tiptoed upstairs again, carrying it on a saucer. Don't give it everything. It might not like it, said Angus hopefully. I wonder what he means by they mean by hopefully. I think it's because Angus wants the leftovers. But when Kirsty pulled off a bit of sardine with her fingers and dropped it into the bathtub, the little animal snapped it up and gulped it down and chirped loudly for more. It likes it, said Angus dolefully. He broke off another piece of fish, his hand moving automatically up towards his own mouth. But Kirsty said, Angus, so sharply that he dropped it into the tub, contenting himself with just licking his fingers. And one after the other, they fed the creature the oily sardines. Then they went down to the pantry again to see if they could get another one. With great effort, for the key was very stiff to turn, Kirsty had at last got the can fully open when suddenly they heard footsteps coming, and Mother came into the kitchen. Kirsty, what are you up to? Who told you you could help yourself to sardines? And long before breakfast time too? It's for our sea monster, said Angus. Oh, don't be silly, Angus, said Mother. Look at your fingers, you're all oily, you greedy little boy. And you, Kirsty, you're old enough to know better. But we haven't eaten any, Mother, honestly. And we have got a sea monster, truly we have. Now you listen to me, Kirsty, said Mother. Whatever it is that you two have brought home, a lobster, a crab, whatever it is, you're wasting my expensive sardines. You will take it straight back, do you hear me? Oh, no, Mother, said Kirsty, please don't. First thing after breakfast, it goes back to the sea, said Mother firmly. Where is it, anyways? In the bathtub, said Angus. In the bathtub, cried Mother. Oh, no. It's quite happy there, said Angus. Oh, well, that's more than your grandfather will be. Oh, as I was coming downstairs, I saw him in the corridor with his towel and his shaving kit. He'll have a fit. Especially if it's still hungry, said Angus. But when the three of them reached the bathroom, the door was open, and there was Grumble kneeling by the bathtub, with his bald head and his droopy mustache, looking like a walrus about to take a dip. He was staring silently at the little animal as it paddled around in the water, now glistening with sardine oil. To their amazement, they saw that Grandpa was smiling broadly. Grumble? Smiling? Is this the thing you found on the beach after the storm? Is it, Kirsty? Yes, Grumble, it hatched in the night. I made her put salt in the water, said Angus proudly. Well, I doubt you would have had to have bothered with that. It's an air-breathing beastie, said Grumble. You see, it's sort of like a seal. Fresh water or salt, it doesn't really matter, as long as it has plenty of fish to eat. We've given it a sardine, said Kirsty. Grumble got to his feet. You're a clever couple of kids here. Oh, he said to the mother, you have a clever couple of kids here. How I wish I could have found such a thing when I was their age. There are many stories of creatures like this, and I believed all of them, but I never thought I'd see one. I forgot to show you a picture, and it's a really important picture. This is what they found in the bathtub. It truly does look like a horse face. You sound as though you know what this thing is, said Mother. I should, said Grumble. Wasn't I born and brought up on the banks of Loch Moor? And wasn't there supposed to be one of these things living in that very loch? What is it, Grumble? Asked Kirsty. Well, before I tell you, said Grumble, you must promise faithfully to tell no one outside of this family. Not a word to any of your friends at school. Do you understand? Oh, yes, said Kirsty. Cross my heart. She crossed it. And then Angus crossed his stomach. Perhaps it was a mistake, but maybe it was because it was his most favorite body part. Right, said Grumble. Then I'll tell you. This is a monster. I told you, said Angus. Always there have been tales of sightings of such a beastie, sometimes at sea, but more often in a loch, said Grumble. Oh, when I was a boy, how I longed to see a kelpie. Is that what this is called? Well, that's one name for it, said Grumble, but the other one, the one I like most, is what most folks call it, a water horse. So that's the end of chapter 2. Every day I'll keep posting a new chapter, and I'm going to give you a glimpse of a picture from chapter 3, which I'll read to you tomorrow. Bye.